On today's episode of Shootin the Breeze, more snow impacting central Illinois over the next few days, followed by some of the coldest air of the season. If you thought it was already cold, you'd be right, but it's going to get even colder in the days ahead. We'll break all that down coming up in this week's episode of Shootin the Breeze. And as always, this episode is brought to you by the CI Proud to Go weather app. Download it today to get access to your winter weather map, road conditions forecast, and the latest snow and ice forecast, all very valuable as not one but two winter storms start to move through central Illinois, followed by some bitter cold temperatures. And while you're at it, download the WMBD Plus app, now available on Roku, Amazon TV, and Apple TV. I am joined today by meteorologist Molly Naisland. Molly, how are you doing?
A little sleepy, but I am here.
You're still kicking. That was a big turnaround. You pulled it off.
I did.
Now you're going to go home and you're going to crash out.
Again, crash out and crash are not the same thing anymore, Chris.
Oh, that's right. We had this discussion this week, didn't we?
I mean, yeah, maybe I'll go home and crash out. Why not?
Maybe.
But no, go home and crash, go sleep.
Crash, go to sleep. Crash, not crash out. Crash. All right, I'll eventually get up with the kids' lingo these days.
Well, by the time you catch up, they'll change it, so.
That's right. No chairs, though. There will be no chairs thrown across the room, at least not that we are aware of. Well, see, so maybe she will crash out. Anyway, Nathan is gone. He's take a long weekend, and naturally, we are going to get snow. But this time, I actually think he's going to get snow, too, so he's not going to miss out on this one. He'll get snow back home. But we wish Nathan well this week. He's going to be taking a couple days off. So you got Molly this for the next couple of mornings, and then the weekend.
No, just one more morning.
Oh, just one more. Yeah, that's right. Just one more morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to work. You don't want to be here Saturday morning when there's nothing else going on.
I was actually more worried that I was working Monday morning after working Sunday night. I would have problems with that.
That would be rough. That would be very rough. All right. So, a lot of stuff going on, Molly. We've had some history, some would say, this week going back. So how about we talk about, let me prime up my echo.
You can do it.
On this day in weather history.
This one it's another big one, and it's another December tornado outbreak. Yeah, turn your echo off there, friend. So that's a machine spring lodged into the side of a tree. I just wanted to point that out. So this was primarily December 10th, but this was a 24-hour outbreak. So December 10th through the 11th of 2021, a strong low-pressure system went from Kansas City towards the Great Lakes region, producing a significant severe weather event across much of the Midwest. There were over 120 tornado reports from the outbreak. This included the Mayfield, Kentucky EF4 and the Edwardsville, Illinois EF3 that struck the Amazon facility. 89 people died as a direct result of the tornadoes. There were also 6 non-tornado related fatalities.
Okay.
So over 90 people lost their lives in relation to this event. The picture on the left is the Edwardsville, Illinois. Yeah. That's the Amazon facility. That is from the National Weather Service office out of St. Louis. And then on the right that's the downtown of Mayfield, and that is from National Weather Service, Paducah, Kentucky.
Yeah, that was a bad outbreak. Thankfully, those don't come around often, but this time of year when we get those, they're not very common. I wouldn't say they're super rare, but
we had one in 2018, and then we had one in 2021. So
usually, look, that section of the world is about kind of the northern extent of outbreaks this time of year, although we've had some, was it last year or the year before, we had outbreaks that went all the way up into Minnesota in like November or December. It was crazy. So I don't remember what year that was. It was one of the last 2 years. So that doesn't happen. But unfortunately, these do just to our south. And thankfully, it doesn't look like we're having anything severe anytime soon, though the pattern is going to start to warm up a little bit. So.
Severely cold.
Yes. We're not talking springs and getting thrusted into the sides of trees.
The joke of I live where the air hurts my face because we don't have alligators, we don't have crocodiles, and we don't have scorpions.
The things you choose to live with.
The things we choose.
You can go to a nicer climate, but then you got animals that eat you. So out here, the animals out here are a little more manageable. All right. Well, hey, we do have some big cold on the way. We've been off our meteorological winter. It's not astronomical winter yet, but meteorological winter. We are off to a pretty hot, cold, a pretty active start. Hot in terms of active, then I realized that was probably poor choice of words. It's a spicy start. It's a roaring start. It is. So we are going to talk more about that. We did get one day this week, finally above average. Just one. It's gone.
And the snow melted.
And the snow melted just in time for us to get some more.
Quite a bit of it melted, actually.
Yes. So we will talk about that and a whole lot more coming up after a quick break. Don't go anywhere. All right, Molly, we are back. It has been a very cold start to our winter season.
That was
Technically,
such
still
a
fall.
long and arduous break that we just took.
It was so long.
My goodness.
So long. All right, so let's talk about how cold it really has been. I went back and looked at the stats basically from December 1st through December 9th to see how this winter, the start of December, has fared amongst other Decembers. And this is the 13th coldest start to December.
Only 13?
Yep, not including yesterday, on record since records began in 1883. I'm going to be very interested to see where this ends up after this weekend. Yeah, because I think that is going to change a little bit. It was actually 12th and through the 7th, and then we had some slightly milder days kind of push into the forecast or move into the area. And you'll see that here in our calendars because we did actually warm up a little bit. So it's even less now if you were to count that
a red dot.
5 degrees above average on Wednesday. Keep in mind, we had temperatures into the 40s for highs.
Why
official
does that say negative? I didn't type that. I meant to hit positive.
It's positive. I get
it.
Is it? It's positive. I've got to be above average. It's got to be a warmer day.
Is that a positive?
No, it's a negative. Oh. It's okay.
This is what happens when I do stuff after the morning shift.
We'll fix it. But it's 0.5 degrees above average. That temperature departure is about 10.5 degrees below average. But again, this is all going to change again after this weekend because we got the coldest air of the season moving in with single-digit temperatures for the weekend and very much below zero lows.
I'm concerned because either this means we're going to have a mild January and February, or that January and February will be even worse, and I don't want it to be the second one.
I think it's going to be probably very similar, where we'll get big burst of cold, but it's not going to be consistent cold. If that makes sense. Okay. We'll probably go through a good 2-3 week stretch where it gets cold again in either month.
Which, in terms of snow, which one do you think is going to be worse, January or February?
Usually, historically, it's January, but based on the last decade, I will say February.
Yeah, something about Groundhog Day and snow. I don't know.
February's the last decade have been a very active snow month. Last year, not really counted.
We don't count
last year was an embarrassment of a winter season. We don't talk about.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about the winter of 2024. That one's going to be lost in the records. Yeah. All right. In terms of rainfall or melted snow. A lot of this, we've had a bit of snow, but it hasn't had a lot of moisture with it. We had that wet snow there at the end of November, but any snows that we've had in December really haven't amounted to much. We've picked up a trace of snow on 4 out of the 10 days. So we've had a lot of flurries. We've had just very fine snow, and the snow that did drop just didn't. It was dry. Which is usual. It's common when you have very cold temperatures. We did pick up a little bit of moisture on Wednesday. But we're still more than a half inch below average. And if you were hoping that we would be making some progress to our drought, you would be sorely mistaken. It's just we have a long way to go, and we're not going to pick up that moisture overnight. And you can see the snowfall here. Yeah, we're still an inch above average snowfall-wise, so we'll take it. So we're off to a good start when it comes to our winter season. So if you're a snow lover, we'd love to see this. We're going to get probably, we melted off all that snow. I had about 6 inches or 5.5 to 6 inches of snow in my front yard up until about Wednesday. And then a lot of it melted out. My front yard still is about an inch of snow on it. My backyard is practically bare. There's a trace amount of snow still in a few areas.
My yard is completely back to grass.
Completely back to grass. So, but my front yard faces north, so it doesn't, it's the shadow of the house keeps it longer. But it's everything that we just melted is going to be back, and it wouldn't surprise me if that by the time the weekend rolls around, I've got 5 or 6 inches of snow on the ground. So,
because we've got, it's already going to be cold for the snow that we have coming in.
Yep.
For our Thursday night. Saturday's going to be even colder.
Yeah, Saturday is a very intriguing day. So here's a look at the forecast. We'll show you what to expect here in the days ahead. And here's that cool down we're talking about. We'll talk about the snow here in a little bit, but notice 30 on Friday, down to 12 on Saturday, sub-zero low temperature Saturday night, and Sunday, even with sunshine, not warming up much with temperatures around 5. Now, the optimism here is that temperatures do actually warm up behind this, and we're going to get a pretty decent warm-up and a warming trend late next week with temperatures back into the 40s. So the snow that we do pick up today and again on Saturday is not going to hang around for 2 or 3 weeks. It'll probably be gone by the following weekend. But there you have it. And for those who are ready for a little bit of a break, we are going to get one to be much, much deserved. Are you looking forward to it?
I'm just, 5.
5 is brutal.
So we've done this a couple of times in the month of December where we were like in the 20s and 30s, and then we dropped down into like highs in the teens and stuff like that. Yeah. We need to pick a temperature and like hang out there because
that's obviously, I just wish if it's cold, just stay cold. If it's warm, stay warm.
We're gonna go hang out in the 40s, but first we're gonna go hang out in the single digits during the day. It's like, can we pick a temperature?
You know what though? It's Illinois weather. It is rare that we just hang out in an area.
Well, no. It's rare that we hang out in a comfortable area. We will hang out with temperatures in the 90s and the heat index in the triple digits for a couple of days, no problem.
Then we'll hang out below zero for a couple of days.
Yeah.
So I get it. Yep. All right, well, here's a look at the pattern. We've been talking about this for the last week or two about how we were just going to get pelted with clipper after clipper after clipper. That has certainly been the case. We had a clipper system pass to our north on Tuesday, brought us some rain, and then it brought us some snow showers and flurries on Wednesday with a drop in temperature. Now, these next two coming through are more in line to bring us accumulating snow. The first one's obviously coming through today, and then the next one, which is going to be moving on shore this afternoon off to our northwest, will be moving in on Saturday. Both of these are set to drop several inches of accumulating snowfall. So here's Future Track. As we kind of go through our afternoon here on Thursday, snow will continue to spread across the region. And the worst part about this is not the amounts, it's just the timing. You're going to be looking at pretty good rates of snow during the Thursday evening commute. And then it gradually starts to wrap up there after midnight. And then while the snow is done falling Friday morning, there's probably still going to be some lingering impacts on area roads. That's not to say you're not going to be able to get from point A to point B. You certainly will. The main interstates and highways, I think, will be okay. But some of the country roads, city side streets, those will still be a bit snow-covered and slick. So we're advising people to kind of take it slow if they can. And you can see there's the snow starting to spread its way into central Illinois.
Caught a few flurries in some areas, early this morning. There was a few flurries, so it was a little teaser. But the main event is this afternoon.
And notice the banding there. You can see some of the localized. This is one thing that, these are hard to predict days in advance, but you get these little narrow strips of snow that develop. That's one such band developing there out of Iowa. That's going to end up passing right along in south of 74. So that's where you're going to end up seeing some locally higher totals. So here's the snowfall forecast. We've reduced totals in LaSalle and Livingston counties. This is through Thursday night. They'll probably get 2-3 inches in southern parts of the county, but it's going to be hard to exceed 3 inches in any part of those areas. 2 to 4 looking more realistic now for the Peoria area, since that narrow band of heavy snow is going to be about 10 to 15 miles further south. So that basically makes it hard for Peoria to get anything over 4. I still think parts of Bloomington Normal could be clipped with some of those heavier bands of snow, so we've got them in that 2 to 5 inch range. And again, the reason for the large spread there, usually I'd like to go 2 to 4, then 3 to 6, or keep the ranges a little more manageable. But there's just more uncertainty because of the narrow banding that is associated with this. So It is quite possible, and we see this. Some parts of town could end up with 2 inches. Other parts could end up with 5. We've seen that several times, especially with these narrow bands of snow. So it's not going to fall universally. It's not going to fall evenly. Snow doesn't do that. Unless it's a lake effect band that doesn't move, then you end up with a very sharp cutoff on either end. But it's going to have, it's going to give a little bit. The point is, this is low-end winter weather advisory criteria. So we've got a winter weather advisory for the area. But I think the higher totals at this point are probably now going to be along and south of 74, when it was looking like earlier in the week they'd be more to the north. But we've gradually been kind of just shifting that a little further south over the last couple of days.
And we got some practice driving in the snow already. This isn't our first one of the season.
Nope. But I tell you, last week when we had a similar event, there were accidents all over the place.
That was the Monday one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because you had said the same thing. The timing of that system just was terrible.
The timing's the exact same with this one. So, people just got to be careful, be smart. Don't, if you can't drive in snow, then don't go out and driving in the snow.
4-wheel drive is not the same as 4-wheel stop.
Yes.
Give yourself extra stopping distance.
I see a lot of cars do that too, where they go, I got 4-wheel drive. There's usually a lot of people in trucks, because the trucks don't, they don't have any problem driving through the snow. But it doesn't mean you can stop. And I don't know why people assume they can just suddenly stop when you can't. So
you want to know another one? My dad brought this up to me long time ago, that people don't necessarily think about. The amount of time you have to pull out into traffic, like if you're turning right and there's oncoming traffic, is different.
Yeah.
Than from dry roads to snow, because you run the risk of your tires spinning.
Yep.
Also, don't accelerate too quickly, because then your tires will spin. Mm-hmm. You gotta ease into the stop, and you gotta ease into the go.
Yeah. And we clearly see that. You got people sliding through intersections all the time, trying to go out of a parking lot onto a street and can't. And then that leads to somebody slamming on their brakes, which means they're sliding and they can't stop. And then you get an accident, or you end up with somebody fishtailing on the highway, the interstate. So again, take it slow. The road crews, there's only so much they can do, right? Mm-hmm. They could pre-treat, they could keep plowing, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. The roads are still going to be, they cannot be, unless the plows are plowing every other car, which is not happening, the roads are going to get slick. So you just have to just be mindful and try to avoid driving when it's at its peak.
What's the main tip for sliding? Because I know...
Yeah, if the front of your car starts to spin to the left, you want to turn your tires to the right. Does that make sense?
I just slide. But that's because most of the time when I start sliding, it's because there's no oncoming traffic.
Yeah, so if your car is sliding straight, then you just, you kind of let off the brake. That's
the bigger thing, is don't slam on your brakes if you start sliding, because that can actually make that worse.
No, Just go. You got to kind of ride it and then
keep your hands on
tap
the wheel.
The brake to try to get some traction. But if your car starts to spin, you need to turn your wheel into the spin to correct.
Yeah, because what ends up happening for me is I slide coming out of my subdivision, but there's no other vehicles on the road. I will just hands on the wheel, don't swerve in a direction, because shortly after I leave my subdivision, my wheels catch. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing is you don't panic. You don't want to hit the brakes. You don't want to hit the gas to try to get out of it, because that can actually make it worse. So just breathe.
I had a lot of practice with this in Colorado.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
I was driving a 1986 or 89 Buick Century.
Sounds amazing.
Well, nice car, road smooth, very front heavy. Right, I had a big engine in it. The trunk, when I had nothing in my trunk, so I would fishtail all the time when I would start turning, because the back end was so light. So I got really used to, suddenly my car is starting to turn, just by changing lanes, it would start to spin, and I'd turn the other way and it would correct itself. But it's, so I got a lot of practice of that out west. Now, obviously, we had a lot more snow. Now, we got another system coming in. This one's a little more intriguing to me, Molly. The system.
No, I agree with you, because the snow ratios are going to be crazy.
Yeah. So this is fun. We'll talk about the Saturday system, because I want to get into the snow ratios with this. So let's take a quick break.
The fluff factor.
The fluff factor. That's right. We're going to get into the fluff factor. So we will talk Saturday snow, and then obviously the bitter cold we've already been kind of discussing, all coming up after the break. Don't go anywhere. All right, Molly, we're back.
You should do fluff factor with an echo.
Let's see here. The fluff factor. How was that? Was that okay?
Perfect. This was amazing.
Perfect. Yeah, so this one's going to have a fluffy character to it. It's going to be light in weight. It's not going to have a ton of moisture.
Is it going to be super windy on Saturday?
No. No, it doesn't look, thank goodness. There's not going to be a lot of wind with either of these systems, so that's going to be an improvement. What's intriguing is just the models are handling this in a couple different ways. They're struggling with the placement of it. So we've got some that want to keep the system mainly across northern Illinois. We've got others that actually want to keep it across south central Illinois, basically south 74. And then we've got the middle of the road solution, which just puts us right in the worst of it. I tend to kind of lean towards that, maybe slightly south, but this is an interesting system in that it is going to be very, very cold. And we've got models out there showing that this storm is the system coming in on Saturday is going to produce about 0.3 of an inch of moisture. Well, when it's a very cold atmosphere, that's going to be a significant snowfall. Now, I'm not buying that we're going to get that much moisture out of it. We're not going to have a lot of moisture available, at least not that much. But this still could be an effective producer. We'll kind of get a snow producer. And we'll kind of get into those snow ratios here in just a moment. So let's take a look at future track for Saturday. And again, this is another narrow band of snow. It's about 150 to 200 miles wide. And a subtle shift north or south of 20 miles is probably going to be the difference between several inches of snow and maybe a couple. So we'll need to keep an eye on that. And then as you head through Saturday afternoon and evening, the snow eventually tapers off. But it's going to start late Friday night, early Saturday morning. I tend to lean more towards the Saturday morning arrival time. Usually snow coming in during the day would have a harder time sticking, but given that your temperatures are going to be in the low teens, it's not going to be a problem whatsoever. Look at the accumulating snow chances. So again, there's a lot of different models that are spitting out a bunch of solutions all over the place. There's some that keep it across northern Illinois. There's some that keep it across southern Illinois. But when you kind of average everything together, out of like 100 different, or in this case, this is an example of 51 different models, you can see there's a lot more agreement that a lot of this falls along I-74. Now, this is not including anything falling today on Thursday. This is strictly late Friday night through Saturday night, accumulating snow. It's hard to say how much snow is going to fall from this because of the differences in track and also the differences in the amount of moisture. So here's an example, Molly. I'm going to bring you back in for this.
The fluff factor.
Our snow ratio. So for today's system, we're roughly looking at about 0.3 inches of moisture from it, maybe a little less now in Peoria, but 0.3. Let's just, for argument's sake, say it's 0.3 of an inch. Our snow ratio today is looking to be around 12 to 1. So what does that mean? 12 to 1 is 12 inches of snow for 1 inch of rainfall. So when we do the math, that equals about 3.6 inches of snow. There's our 2 to 4 inch forecast right there. So you can see how we kind of came up with that. These ratios vary, though, based on a number of circumstances. They vary during the snow event, so it'll start off, for instance, it's probably going to start off at 10 to 1. It might end closer to 13 to 1, but most of the event is going to be somewhere around 12 to 1. The deeper the cold air and the colder that air is, the higher the snow ratio. What we really like to look for, if the temperature profile up throughout much of the atmosphere is between like -10 and -20 degrees, we're going to get really good snowflake development. And so what we look for is a lot of lift in that layer or just below that layer, what we call the dendritic growth zone, if you want to get all technical. When you see that, then we know we're going to have an effective snow-producing system. Today's is not overly impressive for central Illinois. There will be some localized banding where it gets a little bit better, but I'm not overly impressed with our setup today. It's just a kind of a run-of-the-mill 2 to 4 inch event for most of us. Now, let's kind of fast forward and talk about Saturday's system. The air is going to be much, much colder. All right, so instead of having temperatures in the upper 20s like we're experiencing today, we're going to be into the lower to mid-teens. That means the snow ratio is going to be somewhere around 20-1. Now, for argument's sake, let's say we are also predicting 0.3 of an inch of moisture with that. But instead of now getting 3.6 inches of snow with that same moisture, you now nearly double that at 6. So this is the challenge in snowfall forecasting. Now, I'm not sold we're going to get 0.3 of an inch of moisture out of this system coming in on Saturday. But we could end up with 0.15 of an inch, and we'll still end up with 3 inches of snow. We can end up with 0.2 of an inch and end up with 4 inches of snow. So it could actually still end up being a bigger snow producer with less moisture, depending on how this sets up. But for the record, I think there are more models showing a more aggressive solution than a less aggressive solution. So that kind of makes me think that there might be more to this than what my gut is telling me. Yeah. So it's going to be fun. It wouldn't surprise me if some parts of central Illinois, especially if these systems track over the same areas, which is a very good possibility for at least a portion of the area. Some of you may be approaching 10 inches of snow on the ground by the end of the day on Saturday, which is crazy considering there's nothing on the ground now.
Yeah. So basically what Chris is saying is you're going to catch him outside making snow angels on Sunday or Saturday.
It's too cold for me. I do have a threshold there. But you know what? If you can stay warm, this should be a good sledding snow because you'll have a little bit of wet stuff underneath, and then you'll have a good fluffy snow on top. I think, you know what? Because this stuff coming in Saturday is probably not going to be very good for snowman making and snowballs.
Snow angel.
But you can make snow angels, and then you can go sledding. So good snow.
So you gotta make the snowman with the stuff tonight. And then you can add more snow with the stuff happening on Saturday.
That's right.
But you have to build your snowman base.
Yeah, you got to get your base covered tonight and tomorrow morning when the snow is still somewhat wet.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so are you sick of this? You sick of everything? You sick of all the cold and snow?
Okay, I'm sick of the cold. Haven't gotten sick of the snow yet, but it is still early in the season.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm not a huge fan of snow, this is a nice little refresher from the lack of snow that we saw last season. And it's also not, hey, have like 8 inches of snow in one shot to cripple the roadways and stuff like that, like we have seen in the past. We had in total, though, between the two events from that Saturday to that Monday, we had 8 inches of snow, but it wasn't dumped on us all at once. And then it melted.
Yep.
And then it got cold, and then it melted more, and then it got cold. That's the part I don't like. Is we're gonna get nice toasty above freezing, and then no, we're not.
Yeah. Look, it's very rare for us to stay above freezing for a prolonged period of time, especially in the winter months. But it's going to happen again because we're going to start to warm up. But this time, it doesn't look like it's going to be significantly cold. I'm still not convinced we don't get a cold shot here in the next couple of weeks. But take a look at this pattern. Basically, heading into Christmas, above average temperatures are favored across much of the country. This doesn't bode well for our white Christmas chances at this point, because obviously we're going to have some snow now, but if we're going to be in the 40s for the next week and a half, that snow is going to be melting away. Now, there are still opportunities for snow later on down the road. There's not a lot of them, and things got to kind of line up right, and it's not looking like they will. But I wouldn't completely say we have zero. I wouldn't say we have zero chance, but I would say we're probably 20, 30%.
Which is pretty on par.
Which is normal, yeah. Yeah. We had such a good start to December, but again, it's hard to maintain these patterns. And so it is starting to warm up, and it wasn't completely, it's looking more promising that we'll have a sustained warming period than it did the last couple days. But we're still looking at it. There are still a couple of cold fronts that are intriguing to me that could easily send temperatures back below average for at least a brief period of time. But, when you average all the temperatures there between December 19th and December 25th, they are leaning towards above average temperatures in central Illinois. The precip picture still continue to be wet across the northern U.S., drier in the south. So we'll have some opportunities for maybe some snow, but also some rain chances here in the next couple of days or weeks.
Also, with that temperature map, yes, we were above average, but we were pretty close to the near average range. And that is just,
That's 40s. That's
yeah.
upper 30s, low 40s.
Yeah, that's pretty. So it'll be pretty easy to go below that, but it'll also be pretty easy to go above that.
There's no 60s, there's no 70s in the forecast. We saw some maps floating around of 60-degree temperatures from one model earlier this week. So much that actually a few people actually reached out and asked me if it was valid because they were so desperate for a warm up. And then obviously 60s to 70s like that could mean severe weather when you get a sudden warm up. That's not in the cards. By the way, that was for December 15th, which last I checked, we're expecting temperatures in the 20s and 30s. So the average, it's looking like 40s is where we're going to be, which is not all that unusual for this time of year. But the low temperatures at night are going to be a little bit on the warmer side as well. So that's where most of our warmth is going to come.
Whenever we get these cold snaps, like Sunday, when I was forecasting for the end of the week, I was looking at these cold snaps and I was just like, oh, please no. Please be an outlier. Please. And then, I get back to work on Wednesday. I was like, oh, it's even worse than what I was seeing on Sunday.
It just gets...
It just gets colder.
The teleconnections have been lining up for this. This is, Nathan, we've kind of all said that, hey, the teleconnections all favor a big cold start to December. Now, I think they're going to start to moderate back up a little bit here, but then they're going to kick back in probably January, February at times. We get these 30-day cycles coming through, so it'll be coming back around. It's just a matter of time. All right, Molly, we've got a fun kicker.
We do.
You found something unique.
Unique is a good way to put it.
So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll talk about a new beer that is being brewed. Stay tuned. All right, Molly. So what do we got?
Brewski dog.
All right, I'll tell you. We'll play the video and then I'll read the story. But basically, we're going to go to Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
Where they got a new Blizzard brew. Let's take a look. So there you have it. Bud Light getting, basically, it looks like they're making beer from snow from Highmark Stadium, right?
Highmark Stadium. So the story is, this is where the Buffalo Bills play. But this is their final season in that stadium.
Yeah. So here's what the story says. Today, Bud Light has announced a limited edition Blizzard brew made with snow from Highmark Stadium to celebrate the great lengths Bill fans will go for one of the NFL's greatest traditions. And if you know anything about Bills fans, they get a little crazy if you've seen them. I mean, they do the whole table thing, middle of winter, and lake effect snow. They go crazy.
The videos of the fans clearing out the stadium before games when there's a lot of snow.
Yep.
Yeah, they do it.
Following the first snowfall at Highmark Stadium earlier this season, Bud Light and the Bills joined forces to collect the snow and transport it to Anheuser-Busch's brewery in Baldwinsville, New York. There, the snow was integrated in the brewing process and created a limited edition brew. Will be included in custom 16-ounce cans and packaging. The Blizzard brew will be available at participating retailers in Buffalo area and wherever Bills Mafia enjoys the final regular season home game. So
I think that's a neat send-off for that stadium.
Yeah, just be careful. Where'd they get it? Now, look, I'm sure the brewing process cleans out whatever.
It's not the yellow snow,
There's a lot of fluids on a football field.
It's nodes. It's nodes of flavor, Chris.
Yeah, there you go. But you know what? It's perfect. I think it's a perfect send-off.
Would you have a Broncos brew made with snow from Denver?
If it snowed in Denver? They haven't really had much. I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I want the can. I don't know if I drink it. There's probably nothing wrong with it. I'm assuming it's just fine.
Yeah.
But
so wait, okay. So
but I'd purchase it just to have a collector's can or bottle of it.
does that mean, because beer is not clear?
No.
There's a color to it. Does that mean that the snow becomes the yellow snow if you pour the beer out?
That is a question to ponder.
It's the circle of water.
Yeah, it's come back full circle. It's come full circle. Come full circle.
No, that was cool. One of the other options was a dog playing in the snow, which there's a lot of those videos.
Those never get old.
Because it's winter time. And
send us your dogs playing in the snow, by the way, this weekend. We'd love to see it. We'll share it. We'll share it right here on Shootin' the Breeze. I'm sure Nathan will get a kick out of that, too.
Did you know that I tried to let Jasper out in the snow, and I think he hated me for it forever?
Yeah, your cat doesn't strike me as one that would enjoy something like that.
Which is crazy, because he was an outdoor cat for most of his life.
He's enjoyed the finer life, and now
he's been spoiled.
He's been spoiled. I keep reminding my cats, they don't know how good they have it.
Well, I mean, Nimbus is your runner, so.
Yeah, he's a big scaredy cat at heart. I don't think he has he's a big scaredy cat.
They go outside and they're like, I'm outside. And then they go, oh, I don't want to be out here.
I don't want to be outside. I don't want to be out here anymore. Send me back. All right, Molly, you ready to send us home?
I'm trying to. This website is a nightmare.
All right. Well, hopefully it's a good one. Oh, I got to queue up my. All right.
Okay.
We are good to go over here. But nope. Wishing Nathan a safe travel home when he comes back this weekend.
This is a silly one.
What do you got?
How do you find out the what?
I'm ready.
How do you find out the weather when you're on vacation? You go outside and look up.
I mean, it's not wrong.
I know that so many people have said stuff like that to us. I knew that I was like, I have to say this one.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You know what? I wish I had a window we don't have a window at our weather center. I have to run out the front door. I do have the camera.
Yeah.
But I want to see it with the eye. It's funny. A lot of weather service offices, they have the smallest windows.
Well, yeah, because windows are unsafe.
It's just and they're just like, and they just gotta, they just want to look outside, see what's coming through, and it's funny because some of those offices are built like bunkers. they've got very sturdy, safe rooms for severe weather, so they have shelters and stuff, so they can keep running and doing their stuff. But it does stink when you just want to look out the window. You have to take a trip to go look out the window. Yeah, the one in Boulder, Colorado, at least it was tucked like the NWS office was like in the back of a building into the side of a mountain. So it was like, we're not allowed to look outside. But anyway. All right, folks. Well, with that, enjoy the snow. Be safe out there. Stay warm this weekend. And then we'll make it up to you here in the next couple of weeks when things start to warm up. And so this will be my last Shootin' the Breeze of the year. I just realized that. Wow, that hits different. So, Molly,
you know what?
You're in the driver's seat next week.
If something happens while Chris is gone, we know who to blame.
It doesn't look like it will, though. This is what's perplexing me. It doesn't look like anything bad's going to happen. Now, every time Nathan leaves, it snows a foot. So, so we can blame him for the snow.
Nathan.
Yeah.
He's a good sport.
He loves the snow.
He loves
it. No, he's got, like I mentioned earlier, he's going to actually he's going to get some of this down where he's at. So he'll finally get to experience it falling. But with that, we wish you all a good one. If I don't see you, Merry Christmas. Molly, you got to deal with me for a little bit longer. But unfortunately.
You have to put up with me. This is a two-way street.
It is a two-way street. It is a two-way street. But it's all in good fun.
Yes.
That said, you guys have a fantastic holiday season. Enjoy the snow. Stay safe. It's hard to enjoy the cold, so we'll enjoy the warm-up next week. How about that? All right. Bye-bye.